T-minus 10, 9. Time, weather, and...
I'm here with Rebecca Zavadil. She's a teacher at Bristol Elementary School, 5th grade. She's been working for several years now, trying to integrate technology into, I think almost all parts of your instruction, right? So she's going to give us a little tour of some of the everyday things that she does in this classroom. And later we'll have a look and some chats with some of her children.
So this is where we house all of our netbooks. Every student has a netbook to use that's theirs for the year. And we house them, and you can see here that some are not being used, and they just plug them back in so that they get recharged every time. So when they use it, it's all charged up and ready to go.
So they must do some pretty complicated things if they're using headsets and flip cams and the whole bit.
Because they know all of these tools and how to use them, they can use them for various different things. So if they want to capture something, if they'd like to create a play to show what they know, they could have it videoed with the flip camera. They can also take pictures of the things that they're trying to show. And often we use these a lot. We use the headphones for using voice threads and being able to contribute to the class discussion online, as well as if they're using sound in their PowerPoints to actually plug in so it's not everybody's hearing it.
Yeah, I hope we get to see one of those. Well, can you show me some of the things that you have in the front of the room?
Sure. So this is kind of the teacher setup here, which includes a laptop, a document camera, a Mimeo, and the overhead projector. And I use this every day to either guide instruction, have students guide instruction, or have students do some stuff on the interactive whiteboard. So you can see here when I turn on the Mimeo, I can, in the Mimeo software here, I have a morning message. So they're, when they come in the morning, they'll read the message that I've written out, and then they have some sort of activity to do on the board. And it usually has something to do with what we're doing in social studies or math or some sort of subject for the day. And if you see here, we have been learning about slavery in the United States in the 1850s, and one of the things we've been learning about which states were slave states and which states were free states. And one of the things they had to do today was to click and drag the state that, some of them weren't actually states at the time, but they had to click and drag the states that were actually labeled as slave states and then actually label them with what state it was. So they're practicing U.S. geography as well as connecting that to the our slavery and Underground Railroad lesson.
So what we see in this room is an awful lot of independent learning. So they have been tasked with the responsibility to choose an application that fits best what it is they're trying to communicate. They're using a whole variety of things: voice threads, PowerPoints, Prezis, flip cams, and in a lot of cases they're using all of these tools to actually combine them into one. So a flip cam can go to a PowerPoint. These are 5th graders, and we can see how independent their learning is. And it's interesting to watch them even when they're on break. They don't stop. They just keep on going. When they have to move on to another class, it's really tough to get them to disengage. They're so with it.
The Human Rights Unit we're doing kind of stemmed from a traditional Underground Railroad slavery history unit. And I decided that it was really important to bring in why we learn about that in history and kind of tie it into today. And it's really, the idea is really about human rights and what people deserve in their life to feel worthy and dignified. So the students and I start with learning about the Universal Declaration of Human Rights that was drawn up by the United Nations. And we learn about that, and each student takes one of those articles and presents it in some way. Students in my class this year are using PowerPoint, Prezi, VoiceThreads. Some have tried blogs and just straight wiki pages to show what they know about that article, being able to do some reflection on what it means to be equal. What does it mean to be that you should be treated equally?
Do the students sometimes surprise you with what they have created?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They certainly do, and I mean, within each tool, there's so much opportunity for doing something new each time, and really being able to express themselves and express what they know differently. So I find that there's just more options.